Greetings, comic friends. It is Wednesday, so we're doing TGIW. Thank God it is Wednesday. It has all been leading up to this, the cutting of titles, the the big weeks disappearing, slowly narrowing down to 4 books. 4 books this week. It's been a while since I had a really small week. I think that I've needed it. The last few have been fine, in that 10 range. I'm okay with that. That's the kind of the max of what I'm comfortable with, but I am comfortable with it. But every time I get those 10, I also see like, oh, well, this is ending, and this is ending, and this is ending. So eventually it's got to be going down a little bit, and I've been doing very well without not adding stuff. So nice, small, tight week. Really excited for it. So let's see what we got. Edge of Spider-Verse number 4. These are I've just been enjoying the heck out of these. So much fun. I think they don't have any really high expectations of this series. But at the same time, I think in the back of their mind is like, if we stumble across the next Spider-Gwen, like, I think it'll be hard to have lightning strike twice, like that. The new characters that I've seen, I've enjoyed, but nothing that I can tell that would blow up as much as Spider-Gwen. It's just Gwen Stacy is such an iconic character. Having her be a spider person, they try it with Mary Jane, but it's not the same, right? Because Mary Jane's still around. So to have a Gwen Stacy back is, I don't think they can replicate that. It'd be really, really tough. But they've been great stories, a lot of fun. Are they investment opportunities for those that do investment stuff? I don't know about that. Who can say? All I can say is they're a lot of fun. Parasomnia, The Dreaming God, number 2. So after reading the first issue, I started to kind of jog my memory about what this is about. A couple has lost their son, and he's been pulled to some sort of like dream dimension, and people in the waking world, when they fall asleep, can enter it, and the search for the son continues. This runs a little bit different. Before, it was kind of taking place in like colonial times, it seemed like. This is more like in the future, where the waking world obviously is the same time, but the dream world, like, time works a little bit differently. So it's interesting. I still want to go back and reread the first 4 issue, the first run, the first limited series, to really jog my memory of what was going on with the dream world and why this guy can enter it. But I at least remember what the heck it's about. Berserker number 10. I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of losing me. It's kind of losing me a little bit. The way that I can tell is I don't really remember what's going on in, I guess, what would be sort of the main story, right? It's kind of 2 parts. There's I forget what his name is. Unite something UN something. Like in the modern day, and them using him as basically a weapon, but also him telling like his origin. And when it was more focused on like the origin, I really enjoyed it, and I remember being able to keep up with it. Now it seems they're a little more focused on the present, and it's not as engaging, it's not as interesting, so it's losing me a little bit. I don't know how far I'm willing to go with it. I don't know if there is an end in sight. If there is, then I'll probably stick it out until then. But it started off great, but in the end, it's not really super delivering for me, which is unfortunate because I did really enjoy it to begin with. But you know, it happens. And Fantastic Four number 47. So this is the first issue we have without Slott. This is Papose. I'm not familiar with their work at all, but it looks like this is a Judgment Day tie-in. Not terribly excited about that. I'm not reading Judgment Day. I know the general premise of Judgment Day, and I think it sounds really interesting. And I think I hear that it's good. I've just stopped doing those sorts of events. It just gets to be too much. And while they are good stories, there is very rarely like a big payoff that's worth it in the end. So I'm just going to read it on digital when it eventually hits Marvel Unlimited. I do want to read it, mostly because of the tie-in with the Eternals. Avengers and X-Men, I don't care that much about. I do really like the Eternals, so I'll probably read it for that tie-in when it comes out, when it's all done and all out on Marvel Unlimited. So that's it for new books. And I could have just been happy with that and called it there, but I'm me, so I didn't. So I've been going back and forth on something and trying to decide something for a while now. And I couldn't really decide what I wanted to do or if I wanted to do this thing. But you know how much I love collecting runs. And there are different types of runs to collect, right? You can collect a little mini-series. You can collect things that only went for 10, 20, 30 issues. Or you can go for some big runs, longer runs, which I've done in the past. I have the Amazing Spider-Man run, and I put a lot of work into my Incredible Hulk run, only missing the number 1. Other than that, it's all complete. And I miss going for those big runs. Now, the Hulk run isn't technically complete, right? But there's not a whole lot of work to do on it. I need the number 1, and that's going to be, that doesn't get me searching through back issue bins and going to conventions hoping to find something that I need. That's what I'm kind of missing now that the Hulk run is in the state that it's at. I'm definitely saving up for a Hulk 1. So I don't, I don't want to interfere with that saving too much, because then I have to save for it, and then I also have to find one that's the right grade, right price, etc., etc. So I was thinking, what other run could I go for reasonably? So what I started doing is thinking about, like, well, what series do I pretty much already have all the keys for, or a good portion of the keys, and also already have, like, the hardest book to get, the number 1, essentially. That was my problem with Hulk, right? Like, I didn't have a number 1, but I decided to go for a Hulk run, which pushed me in the position of, well, crap, now I need to come up with a number 1 to complete this run. When I did Amazing Spider-Man, before I started the full run, I had the AF-15, I had the ASM-1, so that made it a little bit easier. So if that were the case, there's 2 candidates. There's Fantastic Four, because I have that number 1, and then there's Daredevil, which I got the number 1 for that fairly recently. Now, there are still some pretty good-sized keys of Fantastic Four that I don't have, that I'm okay with not having. So, for example, I don't have Fantastic Four. The biggest ones are probably Fantastic Four number 49 and 50. I'm satisfied with number 48 for my first appearances of Galactus and Silver Surfer. Would I like a 49 and 50? Yes, but I'm okay without having them for my collection. So those are probably the biggest ones that I don't have. And number 3, I believe, which is the first of their outfits. I have 1, 2, 4, and 5. But there's other ones in there, like the first Puppet Master, like 12, first Red Ghost. Stuff that I'd like to get, but I don't. So going for a full run might be... that I don't have, so going for a full run might be tough. The other one then is Daredevil. And Daredevil, I think, is a lot more obtainable than Fantastic Four, and surely more obtainable than Incredible Hulk and Amazing Spider-Man. And also, since I have the number 1, I have number 3, number 4. Like, I have pretty much all the keys. The one that I know that I don't have is I don't have the first Echo, which shouldn't be too. I mean, it's gone up in value, but it's not an old book, so it's not completely unreasonable. The biggest one to get is probably going to be number 2, and number 16, which is the Spidey appearance. But I did go ahead, just had the nice light week. I did get myself a chunk of Daredevils. So this is it. The die is cast. So it's some amount. I'm gonna go for it. I'm for sure gonna go for volume 1. I'm not sure about future volumes. I probably just need to go back and check to see where I started reading it, to see what the gap is. And I don't recall off the top of my head how far back my current run goes. But I mean, there's nothing huge that I'm missing, other than that 2 and 16. But it's just one of those, like, it adds up, right? It's gonna add up. But I did get some good ones in here today. So the 81, this is a good book. So this is the first Black Widow team up, and it's in really good shape. I was really happy with the price I got it for that book. Then just some kind of random, nothing super huge there. I did get some early Bullseye appearances. I already have the first Bullseye, so that's fine. This is a Ghost Rider appearance. It goes for a bit more. A couple other Bullseye appearances. Let's see, 151. And then, like, from then on, it's just I jump to 180, and then it's just complete filler stuff. There's nothing, because like anything that's in this area, I have the keys for, so it's nothing huge. And so these are all super cheap. The store that I got the bulk of these from does half off back issues, so a lot of these are like were $1.50. And then goes all the way. The latest one I have is $3.61. There's some other local stores that I can go and see. Like, I always like to hit local up first, to see what I can do with them, to support local as much as I can. So I'll have to do that and see what I can get locally. And then the real scavenge begins, right? Going to conventions and maybe trying to find some good deals online or something like that. But yeah, that's what I did. I don't know if I should. The big thing about it was, do I just, like, eyes on the prize, Hulk 1. Everything goes towards getting that. And maybe that was the smart thing to do. But man, I do love collecting a run, and I didn't have one going on, really. So this seemed like the most reasonable one, and one that I really like Daredevil, right? So it's not just like I'm picking Daredevil to pick Daredevil. Fantastic Four probably would have been a closer to closer to my heart, I suppose. But it just, after ASM, after Hulk, if I'm going to do a run, I need to calm it down a little bit. And if I'm going to go for a run, Daredevil, I mean, don't be wrong, I love Daredevil. I'll be so happy to have a full run of Daredevil. It just seemed out of, all things considered, seemed like the right choice. So that's what happened. So yeah, that's it. Again, I was really happy about this. I'm hoping for more of these little weeks. So we'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of my deciding to go for this Daredevil run. Am I stupid? Should I just save all that and put it towards a Hulk? And the other thing is, like, when I think of like the price of what a Hulk is going to be versus the price of a lot of these, like the amount that I spent on these is like nothing compared to what the Hulk 1 is going to cost, right? So it's like, it feels, this would have been a drop in the bucket towards the Hulk fund, but a penny saved is a penny earned, right? So I don't know. Maybe I made the wrong choice. I don't necessarily have to hit this real hard. And I'm not too worried about any of the keys in this run, because I pretty much have them all already. But we'll see. But let me know what you think. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on that. So that, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And, of course, don't forget to make yours Titan. This video was brought to you by Titan Comic Pressing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Titan Comic Pressing LLC.